Now I would like to call upon Dr. Colonel A. Balasubramaniam to present our guest with a bouquet.
Thank you, sir. May we now call upon Ankita Sharma, Student Manager, Balaji Institute of Management and Human Resource Development.
Friends, Ankita is going to introduce formally. I have to introduce her informally. See, life mein kabhi, you have to be very fortunate to come across some leaders. I was fortunate to come across this great leader, जिनको मैं मिलिंद साहब बुलाता हूँ. Long back when we organized the first seminar in Ayuko Hall, HR meet, when Sonali Banerjee used to be coordinating, I was just asking, sir, do you remember Sonali? He said, yes, very much I remember. Where is she nowadays? So he was a very Dayan, and he is a very Dayan. He was itna authority hai. Man of few words. Abhi pata nahi, abhi to bhashan to dena padega inko dega. He will not say many words. Is a syrup, is ice speaks. Terror. He was in ES, he was everywhere, yes, come across. I felt so जैसा छोटा भाई से मिला है 15-20 साल के बाद actually इधर उधर हम लोग को मिल गया, but formally to see sir and to be going to listen to his talk, very soothing sir. It's like बड़ा जैसा melody है, आपको देखने के साथ जो feeling हो रहा है, it can't be expressed. Thank you very much for coming. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. May we now call upon Ankita Sharma, Student Manager, Balaji Institute of Management and Human Resource Development, to introduce the speaker to the audience.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It gives me an honor to introduce Mr. Minlind Jadhav, co-founder, Selectigence HR Solutions Private Limited, Pune. We welcome you, sir. Sir has done his graduation from Tata Institute of Social Science and Osmania University. Sir has worked in varied HR domains. He was Chief People Officer at GlobalLogic.inc, VP HR, Corporate Services in Global HR, and also shared his services at Suzlon Energy Limited. He was Head HR at Bharat Forge Limited. Sir, now I kindly request you to please come up on the podium and share your words of wisdom and knowledge and enlighten our young aspiring student managers. The stage is all yours.
Yeah, good morning, everybody. At the outset, I need to thank Professor Bala for actually raising your hopes and making my job that much harder. So I think that's his usual way of doing things. And having known him for several years now, more than a decade and a half, I can say with a lot of conviction that there are very few people, at least in this city, who have accomplished what he has, considering, that he's been in this business for so many years. My association with Colonel Bala goes back to his days at SIMS, and at that time I also used to know, or rather have known Professor Kadam since then. And Dr. Singh, your director, and I go back to 1985. We worked together at KSB Pumps. He was in marketing, and I used to manage HR at that time. So therefore, there are a lot of connects out here in this organization, which I hope over the coming years will probably get strengthened further and further. And having heard Dr. Panda a few minutes ago, I thought I should just dwell upon a couple of things that he said, which are very, very important where you all are concerned, and where everybody is concerned. He talked about being a good human being. I think that's a prerequisite for anyone and everyone. Prerequisite because it is not just the chase or the lure of material things that matter. It's about doing the right thing. Some years ago, at SIMS, again, or SIBM, I think it was SIMS, yeah. I was on the interview panel, when students get inducted into the colleges. And I was fortunate enough to be on the panel with a person who's a very well-known person in this country. He is the former Chief Election Commissioner, Mr. T.N. Seshan. He and I sat on the same panel. And he's a very forthright man, and he's a very upright person. Everybody knows that. I mean, some of you may not have heard of him, but those of you who have heard of him, would know that there were very few election commissioners who did not take any BS from anybody. He did not take any BS from anybody, and neither did he give any BS to anybody. Everything was as is. And there was only one set of questions that he was asking throughout. Okay? And the question was, you are studying at SIMS, but you live somewhere, some kilometers away. You have an exam on that day. You start late from home. You break a traffic light. You jump a traffic signal. A cop stops you. What happens next? What happens next? Sorry? So, Colonel Bala is not going to allow you inside the, come late for exam, right? He's never going to allow. So what happens next? There you go. Who said that? Yeah? There you go. You're setting yourself up for a good scam, my young friend. Yeah? Every day on the news, any of the news channels that you start up, especially in the evenings, you hear of newer and newer scams. What is the latest scam going around? Colgate. Yeah? How many crores? 1 point what? 1.86 lakhs. How many dollars does that convert into? Sorry? Someone said $5 billion. What is the method of conversion that you all are using? I think it's about that, So that question actually determined who got in and who did not. The answer to that question. The answer to that question determined people who got in and who did not. Obviously, those who said, I'll bribe the cop, were asked to leave within the next few seconds. Because there's no place for people like that. Young India, of which you all are a part of, comprises of almost 60% or 65%, between 60 and 65% of this country's population. Young India meaning people below the age of 30. Gen Y, right? You are known as Gen Y. Sorry? Any Gen Xers here among the students? No? I think it's very important and critical that we focus on that good human being piece. And also the couple of other things that he touched upon was basically about learning. Yeah? Learning is a process that continues throughout our lives till we die. So therefore, the less we learn, the wiser we become, is what many people think. And many a times, I've asked students hiring from campuses. I've hired from almost every campus in this country, B schools, and outside this country, a huge number of campuses as well. Right from places like Harvard to, Sorbonne to Stanford, MIT, Sloan School, all kinds of places. All kinds of places. Lots of places one got to hear people saying one thing, especially in India. So that's theoretical. Don't you all feel there's a lot of theory being taught? Yeah? Sorry? It's too much theory, right? Yeah? It's so sad, isn't it? What are you going to do with all that theory? Sorry? Apply it. Good. Someone wants to apply it. So where do you think that theory came from? Sorry? Experience, hypothesis, deduction, research. So then why do we always say it's all good in theory? If it has been applied before, people have researched it, it's been proven if it's effective, why the heck do we say that it applies only in theory, not in practice? What sense does it make? That's because my submission to you is, people say it's in theory because they haven't learned it. They haven't understood it. They don't bother to read books. Today's case method of education is fantastic. It's proven to be a winner. But at the same time, my submission is that case method has also taken away a lot of these things from the old form of learning, the theory-based learning part from people. And of course, chasing money. That was the third point that I wanted to focus on before I got into that. Every year, we keep talking about raising the bar. If last year's batch average was 5 lakhs, this year should be 5.5 lakhs or 6 lakhs. If this is 6 lakhs, next year should be 6.5 to 7 lakhs, and so on and so forth. Money buys us all these nice things. Yeah? Everything that you all are wearing, it buys us all of those. But it doesn't buy us a few other things. It doesn't buy us love, it doesn't buy us affection. It doesn't buy us respect. Look at Gopal Goyal Kanda. Finally gave himself up today, right? Yeah? All the money in the world couldn't help him. Has not helped him yet. I'm sure, given our system, at some point in time, it will help him, but at least not for the moment. There's so much of media pressure, it's not going to help him. So ask yourself that question, is money going to help you as much as you would like to believe that it's going to help you? It will buy you material things, but beyond that, what? That's a question. So, coming back to, the topic that I'd chosen, driving collaboration through social media. There are plenty of slides here. I'm going to leave this presentation behind. I had made this presentation a few months ago somewhere else. So I've culled it, changed it a little bit because it was again for a similar kind of an audience. I changed it to suit your needs in the sense after getting some inputs from Dr. Singh. Okay? And this is what it is going to be. I'm going to rush through them fast because we don't have much time. We've actually lost a lot of time, I'm told, this morning. So this is where it is. How do you like this? The ladies will say, so sweet, so sweet. Cute, isn't he? Queet. Isn't that a word? Queet? Yeah? The boys and the young men will say, what is this queet business? वो नंगा बैठा है. Yeah? What's he doing? Facebooking. Okay. All right. What are these guys doing? Facebook. No brainer. Skyping. Not Skyping. Looking at, again, it's Facebooking. Okay? This is the best. Have you ever been on a train? This train? No? How come not? It's not focused. I don't think it's very clear, is it? I don't know. No, it's nothing to do with light. It's just a focus. Anyways, so this is a picture that I thought it was very useful because, you know, Indian Railways is the largest employer in this country, and I think it's the largest public sector employer in the world or something like that. Yeah? And till the much maligned Lalu Prasad Yadav was at the helm of affairs there, it was running in profit. Now it is running at a loss. Yeah. So, despite Lalu giving away seats like this, the corporation still made money. Okay? Then let's look at what Gen Y, the population is like. Born after 1980, correct? Similar values to veterans, optimistic, confident, sociable, strong morals, and sense of civic duty. The question is, are the strong morals and sense of civic duty, do they stand out where you are concerned? Or is that 100 rupee note going to work forever? At every step of the way? The choice is yours to make. Okay? While, this is more Gen Y, this research, I'm sure you all have seen this research before. This is actually, this was done by Harvard, it's Harvard research, and it was published by Harvard Management Update a few years ago. I think it was in 2004, 2005. Yeah. I've been flogging these slides since then because I think that it makes a lot of sense. Yeah. Men and women will expect greater workplace flexibility. They think differently to other age groups. Okay. Specific motivators, opportunities for continuous learning and building skills with access to bleeding edge technology and state-of-the-art training. Know their goals and explain how they fit into the big picture. You need to know. Yep, you guys. You like getting coached more than getting bossed. So that's something that you'll hear when you go to the corporate world, transition there. And you like inspiring leadership as well. When we talk about inspiring leadership, who comes to your mind? Sorry? Give me 5 names, please. Mandela, 1. Sorry? This is India. Everybody talking at the same time. Hitler, 2. Sorry? Who? Someone from here, please. Mahatma Gandhi, 3. Who else? Bala sir. Bala sir. आपको ले लिया इधर. And MS Dhoni. Okay, 5. Enough. 5. We got 5 people. Yeah. Someone said Hitler. Who said Hitler? Okay. How many people agree with him that he was an inspirational leader? You do. I will say, take a step further and say Osama bin Laden. How many people agree? How many people disagree? Why? Sorry? Please convince me to jump from here to there. Please convince me. I don't think anyone in this room can convince you guys to jump from here to here without breaking your bones. That man could convince people in the name of something, yeah, to kill themselves, right? So is that a good thing or a bad thing? His cause was bad, he would like to believe, we would like to believe, but he believed his cause was good, right? It's a matter of perception. Think about that a little bit. A bad example of inspirational leadership, I can't think of a worse example where, someone inspired people to kill themselves in the name of religion and at the same time kill other people in the name of religion. It's so difficult for us to even take that small leap of faith and jump from here down there. Yeah, we won't do it. But imagine the amount of influence that man had. Think about the positive side, not the negative side. The negative side is there for us to see, right? Look at the positive side. What impact? Same thing with Adolf Hitler. Mahatma Gandhi, he did something exactly opposite. Nelson Mandela. But look at where we are today and where South Africa is today. Have you read today's newspaper? It does talk about South Africa to some extent. Same stories going around. Mahatma Gandhi taught us something which has become very visible, according to me. I won't name the B school. Probably it's ranked in the top 10 in this country. Okay. A few months back, I was speaking there, similar kind of session, and the director got up and said, and there was a big furor about it, it got reported in the press. The director of the institute said Mahatma Gandhi did the biggest disservice to this nation. And what was that? He says, sorry? He said, look at our streets, look at how we behave. He taught us civil disobedience. I'll leave that with you. Okay. Social media networking, back to that again for a few minutes. Right? We all know what social media is, right? Is there anyone who doesn't know? Is there anyone who's not on Facebook? Everybody's on Facebook, right? Since when? Since when? 2005, 2006? 2009, 10? Tell me only one answer, please. When did Facebook come into existence? 2004. Do you know? Are you sure 2004? How? Where do you read? LinkedIn? How many people know about LinkedIn? You know, but I'm asking you a question. Do you know when it came into existence? Huh? No, no idea. Why? Why? That's going to help you more than Facebook is going to help you. So why is it that you don't know when that thing was founded or set up? Why? Why is it that we know everything that is trendy, but something which may not necessarily be trendy is something that we are not focused on? That's professionally trendy, LinkedIn. Facebook is socially trendy, right? But companies are using both Facebook as well as LinkedIn to similar effect. In fact, who can tell me the price point, yesterday's price point of Facebook shares? How much did it trade for? Anyone? What is 24 to 26? What? How did you determine that? What is the market cap? Is that below par or above par? How much below par? We know the application, but we don't know the business. We know the application, but do we know the business? Maybe, maybe not. So here's what, this is what it is. You all know that what kind of business applications there are. Yeah. You read that? 5 reasons why business and work is social. Conversation, collaboration, community, collective intelligence, and consumer. I like to believe that I'm a HR professional. I've been that for the last 30 plus years. Yeah. But at the same time, I believe my role has also been that of a salesman. Why? Because I think essentially, HR is more about selling your thoughts, your ideas, your processes, whatever else you want to do, your company, your organization, to the employees and to the outside world, creating an employer brand, then it is about anything else. And if you've got a good product, you can sell it. If you don't have a good product, you're screwed. Big time. How many students of HR in this lot? Quite a bit. Okay. One person, whoever is confident, please stand up and define competencies to me. Just one person. Okay, that's good enough for me. Thank you. Yep. How many people knew that? Now everybody will raise their hands. Correct? Which book on competencies have you read? Any one of you? Sorry? What is considered, who is considered to be the guru of competencies? Huh? Get out of here. See. That is core competencies he talked about. He didn't talk about competencies, he talked about core competencies. Spencer, have you heard of him? Who? Mark Spencer, Marks and Spencer. Someone said Mark here just now. Who was that? Lyle Spencer. Lyle and Signe Spencer, Signe is his wife, they researched and they wrote a book called Competence at Work. Way back in the 60s. I don't know if any one of you have read that. If you haven't, I think it used to cost at one time 6,000 or 7,000 rupees. Now that book is available at Crossword it was for 350 or 400 rupees a couple of years ago. Do you a lot of good if you pick up that book, whether you're an HR or not, and it will help you a great deal in understanding competencies and stuff like that. Yeah, Lyle and Signe Spencer. So this is all about that. This is all about having a conversation. It's about collaborating. It's about the community that you are in and collecting, creating communities, then collective intelligence and consumer behavior. Right. Conversations. What about them? Who do you converse with where, social media is concerned? What do you want to know? Your customers, your partners and employees are talking about you in public. Right? Listen to them, reach out to them, engage them in a two-way conversation. Typically, they would ask you, have you worked with this vendor? Yes or no? Yeah, yes. Have you exceeded the expectations? And so on. Collaboration. People work together. Right? Everybody knows what collaboration is all about. Correct? Does anyone not know what collaboration is? What's the dictionary meaning? What does Oxford Dictionary, how does it define collaboration? Sorry? No, this is not a trick question. No, it's not a trick question. It's straightforward. How would you define collaboration? Working jointly, working together. Yeah? This is where C.K. Prahlad, someone talked about competence over there. Yeah? That was core competence. If you have to talk about, C.K. Prahlad, then talk about collaboration with him as well, in mind. And that's fundamentally because he talked about co-creation. How many people have read about co-creation? No? Please look it up, what it means. Co-creation. It's about collaboration. He talked about it way back, more than a decade ago. Co-creation is nothing but collaboration, being on the same side, whether you are a vendor or a supplier or a consumer, designing a product together. When you buy a car, can you customize your car? And how many times can you customize a car? Any answers? Sorry?
Once, twice. Once.
How much can you customize? You can ask for a 1.6 liter naturally aspirated engine. You can ask for wider tires. Yeah. You can maybe get a leather steering. You can't get them to change the chassis. You can probably get leather seats. You can do things like that. When you buy these things, can you get them customized? How much? Sorry? Sorry? Shoes. How much can you get them customized?
Different design.
100%.
Design in the leather.
100%. Why not? You go to a shoemaker, he will make you a set of shoes which are designed for your feet. Clothes, same thing, right? Televisions. So how do they determine what the customers want? Market research. And what happens in market research? How are they talking to customers? Focus groups. They're talking to customers through focus groups, collaborating with customers, getting to understand what they need, creating the whole thing together, and delivering it to the customer, right? Co-creation is about that. I would strongly urge you guys to actually look up what co-creation is all about, read about it, because that's going to play an important part in your lives. Yeah? And from there comes collaboration. So collaboration is not some big mumbo-jumbo stuff that people are talking about, that Mark Zuckerberg created or anyone like that created. No, he didn't. A lot more hands will go up. Unfortunately, if the population here was majoritarily from Pune, many people would have raised their hands. Why not? Why can't you guys be student members of National HRD Network, for example, or any other marketing organization like that? How many people have heard of SHRM? Okay, strategic human resource management. What about Society for Human Resources Management? Have you heard of that? Yeah?
Not really.
Yes or no? Yeah, if you've heard, why aren't you saying it? Through LinkedIn. Have you been to their website? What's wrong with you guys? Have you been to their website? Seen what they do? GPHR, SPHR, and so on? PHR? What are those? No idea. Read. I'm running out of time, I think, right? Read. Those are certificate programs that they run. Huge amounts of inputs that you get, different, very practical, different kind of inputs that you need while you're working. Yeah, and besides that, I think there's immense amount of knowledge going out there. Yeah. Collective intelligence comes out of communities and collaboration. Yeah, because that's where you're gathering information from, putting it together in a structured format, using it. It's not just dipstick survey, go and talk to 3 people and say, okay, this is the survey that I've conducted, and these are the results of that survey. It's not like that. It's far more, far more important, far more structured, far more scientific. What is a good sample size in terms of percentage? Research methodology, what does it say to you? What? 30 what? Percent? Or 30 people? Sorry? Sorry? Depends on the case. Huh? Someone out there is saying depend on the case. Do you think research methodology defines samples by cases? Then why is someone out there saying something of that nature? Or suggesting something of that nature? Employee generated content? What is this? Let's talk about this. Very soon you'll be employees. Yeah? What is employee generated content? Motivate. Great word. Motivate the employees to participate in the management. Okay. I'll make a small digression from there. Yeah? To motivate you, you get your salary every month. So what more motivation do you want? If you don't get a salary, if you're like, Kingfisher employees not getting their salary but still being asked to work, I can imagine motivation comes into play. But to do your normal work, why do you need motivation? Do you think, you talked about inspiring leaders a few minutes ago, right? You talked about Osama bin Laden, you talked about Adolf Hitler, you talked about Mahatma Gandhi, you talked about MS Dhoni and someone else. Who was there to motivate these guys? Huh? Self-motivation. So, why do you require a motivational brush? Keep on painting you day in and day out. Only then you'll work. Do we need a brush? Motivational brush? To do well? Read Herzberg's theories? Can someone talk about it, please? No group discussion, one person talk. Anyone volunteer here? Yeah.
So, theory basically talks about satisfactors and dissatisfactors, that is, hygiene factors and motivators. There are certain aspects, the presence of which motivates a person, and there are certain aspects, the absence of which actually dissatisfies the person, whereas its presence doesn't motivate them.
Great. That is exactly the point here. Your employees love to express themselves. That's exactly the point here. Your employees love to express themselves. Don't suppress, put a cap on the, muzzle them. They're not dogs to put a, muzzle on their mouths. Allow people to express. If you don't allow them to express, you're not going to get anywhere where employee-generated content is concerned. Ideas get suppressed. Everything starts getting suppressed. And then there is huge amount of dissatisfaction that builds up. And that dissatisfaction eventually leads into, a whole lot of other issues around that. Okay? So I think that's where we are. Engaging external talent community. There are all kinds of things out there, what you can do with the social media. You can have expert blogs, you can have user-generated content, you can have discussion forums, advocacy programs, news aggregation, expert, and so on and so forth. And why is social media an ideal tool? It's direct, it's instant, it's expressive, it's democratic. Ease of use, dialogue-based, occurs throughout our lives, everywhere, anytime. There's one word missing from this. What is that? Your word. What was that? Motivation. Correct? That word motivation is missing from there. Why is it missing from there? The advantages are lower attrition, lower disruption, lowering of training costs, lesser loss of knowledge, and greater consistency. I'm out of time, so just rushing through some of this stuff. There's some examples that I have. You can also use social media extensively in learning, which is what my company does a little bit. It also does many of these other things that were listed here. Many of the things that we do in my organization. So anyone who wants to do any internship in this space, managing content, doing that sort of thing, can contact later. This is interesting. The minute you say leveraging social media network, most people think it is only about recruiting. It is not. It is about learning, it is about engagement, it is about a whole lot of other things. Unfortunately, that is not being done. So when you get into your jobs and get into your corporate life, make sure to utilize many of these platforms, media that is available. Yeah, and it's cheap. It's not very expensive. Yeah, and just a couple of slides more. That's what it means. To me, engaged is about being excited. Excited should be the word, not just engaged, because engaged doesn't mean much. It has to be, people have to be excited. Some of the stuff that is going on out there. Yeah, how many people keep on tweeting? And what does it get you? Find out who's the biggest, who has the biggest follower base. Does anyone know? How many people follow? Sorry? How many people follow her? That's the question. It's your generation, man. I'm an old man. It's not my generation. But I know the numbers. How come you guys don't know the numbers? What's with you? Find out. Interesting data there. Yeah. Companies are using, for a variety of purposes, to showcase culture, employer branding at EMC, then employer blogs they do, employee blogs for HR and recruitment community. Then there's Microsoft uses it for, again, recruitment with onboarding candidates. There's some other company which does that. Networking, EMC does something else as well. There are plenty of, practices out there which are being followed. It's just that because we don't read much, we don't know what's happening out there, but this is a huge medium, especially people who are studying marketing as well as HR. People who want to be in digital marketing, that's the place to be. Very complex, very hard stuff. It's not going to be easy. It's complex because the science is still evolving. It's nebulous because you can't catch it and say this is what it is. It's hard. That's why. And CEOs will always ask you what is the ROI, and you can't measure that because you can't catch it. Science is still evolving. So, all kinds of things out there, happening out there. But do bear in mind. This is a nice picture that I found. Have you seen this picture anytime? Yeah? How do you think that is this picture real in the first place? Is it real? No. Has it been doctored? Download this picture, look at each one of the faces in the crowd and the people on top. Decide for yourself whether this is a real picture or doctored. Right? Okay. Lot of managers will say that social is equal to time wasting. Yeah. What can social media contribute to your business? What are the main business, marketing, HR, communications objectives to be achieved? Yeah. What are your SMART targets? How will progress be measured? And what is the ROI, which I talked about earlier? And how can you measure this? Okay. If you have any questions, otherwise, any questions? Any questions? No. Means only two things. Three things.
So I'm Swati Rotra from BMM KMNHRD. So my question to you is, as you have shown that social media is a very important medium for engaging employees. But as we know that today, more than 30% of the companies are actually keeping a tab on people who are actually on social networking sites, especially during office hours. How can companies leverage the maximum out of these medias and instead of keeping other things that way and leveraging maximum out of it? Keeping the
I think that's Swati, right? I think that's a great question you asked because it's a real-time problem as well. The real problem being that people, any facility that is given to them, they misuse it. They go beyond the latitude that is given to them. Okay? And that is why people start monitoring. There are a lot of people, companies, especially, gray-haired, no-haired managers like me, sitting there, who are very suspicious of what people do. And anything that you talk about, HR guys, I've been an HR person, are the biggest culprits. First thing they want is a policy for something. The minute you say a policy to a Gen Y person, yeah, especially we were all Gen Y at one time, okay, we were all young at one time, because no one became old overnight. The first thing the minute you say policy, the first thing is rebel. Why rules? Why policy? Don't you trust me? Am I not responsible? Did we not go through the same, do we still not, all of you, go through the same discussions with their parents or guardians? Please tell me one person who doesn't go through those kind of discussions with parents or guardians or teachers. That is where the issue begins. Because the minute you try to put around a very big, heavy-duty policy framework, this, that, and the other, is going to, people are going to push back at it. The minute they start pushing back at it, you say this guy is a troublemaker. That's what he's doing, or she's doing, causing trouble, time waster. Where are your timesheets? What did you do? Start looking at the timesheets. People, on the other hand, also, tend to misuse the facility that is given. I know a lot of people who will just sit and keep on tooling around on social media, posting Facebook. They don't realize that beyond a certain point, the Facebook is not going to help you get ahead in your job. They don't realize, because it's not yet there as important for them. That's the problem. That's the story. And that is where there's a lot of pressure coming from all over the place to cap these things. And that is why companies have started using enterprise social media platforms so that they can allow people within the unit to connect. They will say that, okay, no going out to the outside world. If you want, every day there will be a half an hour or something like that where you can go to Facebook. Once that is gone, that is gone. Otherwise, you connect internally. So there are enterprise social media platforms that are in use. In Pune, there's a company which has made one, but there are huge ones in the US which have actually taken the lead and gone ahead. Things like Yammer and Social Spring and a whole lot of things out there.
Does it actually help guarding these social networking sites? Aren't people also so much aware and responsible?
They're not. Because I'll tell you why. In my organization, we have only 25 people. Yeah, and it's open. I don't restrict people from using that because they need to use that in conducting their normal work as well. Okay? Especially the people who are in recruiting part of the organization. They do that. However, I find some people, they're all day on that. They're just doing silly things. They fall behind. Every evening they get a rap. Every evening they get a rap because we have a system of daily measurement of performance against targets. You get a smiley or a frown. Straight, every day. Every day before you leave, you get either a smiley or a frown. There are people who are getting that daily. So then they have to come on weekends and work. I don't call them. We don't call them. They come on their own. Office is open. And then they say, oh, I'm working on weekends as well. Oh my God. How hard I work. But no one's asking you to work that hard. No one's asking you to work that hard. All people are saying is, do your honest, put in your honest 8 hours, go home, do what you want. Who cares? Who cares? No one cares. Do your work, go home. And that's the difference between India and the Western countries. I've lived outside India for several years, and not just, in the Western world, but also in places like Dubai, when I worked for Emirates Airlines. I worked there for 6 years. A lot of British people used to work there. It's one reason why it's the best airline in the world is because of the work ethic. People are extremely hardworking. I know for a fact that, in the US when I was there, people would get to work at 6:30, and at 3:30 they're out of office. They do their 8 hours, they're done, close shop, go out. If they go out for smoke breaks, they just go there, come back. Coffee breaks, just go and grab a coffee, come back. Lunch is 10 minutes, 20 minutes max. grab a sandwich, come back at your workplace, do whatever you have to. That's it. You take the same Indian guy in the same office. Come at 8 o'clock or 8:30, 9, then lounge around till 7 o'clock in the evening and say, hey, I'm doing so much work. But how much time do you waste with your friends hanging out? चल यार, कट्टे हुए बैठते हैं, सिगरेट पीते हैं, बैठे हुए, हाँ? वो सिगरेट जल जाती है 6 मिनट में, 3 मिनट में, depending on how fast you smoke. But people sit there for half an hour. Boys, girls, everybody sits there for half an hour. What business do you have to leave your desk, workplace and go and sit there for half an hour? That's because of poor management as well. Poor supervision. I would kick ass. Simple. Last one.
Institutional level of social media that people recognize that they can do business by using this.
Yes. There's huge amount of money being spent on that. Organizations spending money, organizations also, reaping the benefits of that, rewards of that.
Good morning, sir. Then, Sonal, I just wanted to ask, don't you think that, the employers are usually scrutinizing our Facebook profile and read?
No one's scrutinizing, no one is looking at it. Very few companies have the time and patience to look at what you're doing on your Facebook. No company does that. How can they log into your Facebook account? They can't. No, you lock yourself out. Keep it private. Why the hell are you giving access to 10,000 people? What business is it of theirs to see what you're doing or what it is, what your private stuff is?
So you gave an insight about two words. That is, one is customization and the other being collaboration. So how you will relate collaboration with your own company, that is Selected Chins?
Sorry, come again?
Customization and Selected Chins, how are you going to collaborate these two words?
Customization and
Selected Chins.
everything, whatever we do is customized. It's tailor-made for meeting customer requirements, so, it's not one size fits all. That's why I talked about co-creation. That's why I want you to read what C.K. Prahlad talked about in the Future of Business. Future of Business, I think that's what it is. C.K. Prahlad and who else? Two authors. Sorry, Gary Hamel. I think it's in that book they talked about, co-creation. It's about that. Everything has to be customized. There are few things that cannot be customized. You want a triangular watch, you can still get one, but you can't get it customized. I've got this funny rectangular watch, yeah. But you can't do much about it. You liked it, you picked it up, because you would have liked maybe an octagonal watch, you might get that. You might get something else. But everything cannot be customized. Most of it can be. And customization also increases your cost significantly. Huge amounts of cost increase happens. Especially manufactured goods, you're talking about dyes and this and that and all kinds of things. So the costs are very, very high. Okay. Thank you so much, all of you.
Thank you, sir. May I now request Dr. Satish Inamdar, Director, Balaji Institute of International Business, to present Mr. Minlind Jadhav with a memento.